This is the plaintiff, Tamika Patrice Brown. She says she paid the defendant in full for a deposit party space for her birthday party. And on the very day of the event at 5 p.m., no less, he canceled. That's right. She had 30 people invited. Now the louse won't return her money? That's so not fair. It's not even funny. She's suing here and now for the $1,000 she's owed. This is the defendant, Jude Mooten. He says he runs a celebrity catering business and books parties for people. Unfortunately, he ran into a problem with the city on the very day of the plaintiff's party regarding some permit issues. He felt very badly about it. He immediately called her, arranged for another place to have the party, even paid for the DJ and the food. A few days later, she called him asking for a refund because she said she didn't have a good time because only 25 people showed up. Huh? He's accused of being a party pooper.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Tamika Brown?
Yes.
You are suing Jude Mooten?
Mutan. Yes.
And Purple Rooster Catering for $1,000, 800 of it a full refund that you want, and 200 of it for being inconvenienced because they changed the venue on you. Tell me what happened.
Yes. So in August of 2013, I sought out Mr. Mouton to have a birthday party for myself in the month of September.
Birthday?
It was my 31st birthday. It would have been September the 6th.
Okay.
And
do
so
you always throw yourself a party on every birthday? I love.
No.
Believe me, I did not. That sounded judgmental, but I didn't mean it. I just think the celebration of self is fabulous. These people who throw parties for themselves every year of their birthday, I think that's just. Actually, we should all love ourselves.
No, absolutely not. That's the thing. I never do these kinds of
so
things.
How come you were doing this one?
Because I didn't get to do it for my 30th. I was really busy that year, so I decided to bring friends and family together to do it this time.
Awesome.
So,
all right.
So I got his information from a mutual contact who had a party, I guess, at his establishment.
And the name of the establishment is?
Purple Rooster.
Okay. Do you have pictures of it?
On my cell phone, Your Honor.
Can you pull them out?
Absolutely.
I have pictures. Of
the Purple Rooster?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see those. And so what happened? So you rented for what day?
I rented it for September the 6th. So when I initially met him for the first time, that was in the month of August, I went to the establishment. He showed me around, introduced me to staff. I did some food tasting. And so it met my expectations. So on that day, I paid $300 to reserve the space for my party. So that was a month before the party.
Okay.
Okay, and then we talked some more in between time over the course of a couple of weeks. Email back and forth, list of folks who were going to come and what the price was going to be for those.
So it's kind of a warehouse?
Yeah, it's a building, a corporate building, industrial building.
An industrial
building. Turned the
building.
warehouse into an event center.
Okay.
So then I met him 2 days before the party, and I paid the remainder of the balance, and everything was ready to go.
And then what happens?
Then on the day of the party, September the 6th, about 5:30, a couple of hours before the party, he called me and told me that he regretted that he had to tell me what happened, that the city of Long Beach came in and told him that because he didn't have a license to play amplified music, that he couldn't host my party. Or that if he did, they would shut him down.
Is that what happened?
Not quite, Your Honor.
What happened?
They did come in. The city of Long Beach came in and told me that they could allow me up to 50 people because I'm in a heavy industrial area, which that wasn't told to me when I first originally spent those hundreds of thousands of dollars to create this venue. So I got an issue with that.
You spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to create this venue?
I put about $200,000 into this building.
Into
the whole event. It's 8,000 square foot. So we had multiple rooms, event conference rooms that we rent.
Do you have pictures of that? Because what I'm looking at is just the industrial outside.
Oh, no, I have pictures of my building. This is some of the pictures here.
Okay.
If you just scroll across. Yeah, I'll see.
Oh, yeah, this looks much different. Okay, nope. I don't want to see food. I want to see the venue itself, although the food looks really delicious. Okay, more food. Oh, here we go. All right, yeah. Okay, I would say there's more than 50 people here. All right, how do you not know how many people you can have in there? And why is 50 okay, but how many were you having?
Less than 30, around about 30.
Well, then why would 50 be a problem?
That's not the original agreement. She rented 3 VIP areas and she was expecting about 75 guests. So
Did you tell him that originally?
So I
Yes or no? Did you tell him that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So they told you that you couldn't have more than 50. Why didn't you give her the option? Well, I guess by that point it's too late.
Here's the thing, Your Honor. When they came in with the citation, they told me
What were they citing you for? A party the day before?
Because no, they were telling me that was my area wasn't zoned for that many people in an heavy industrial area. So when they told me, I told them I had a party that evening. So they allowed me, they said, well, if she can scale it down to 50 people, we can allow you to have her event.
What difference does it make? They couldn't skate one night and not ruin the girl's birthday. That's just,
Well,
you know, I mean.
they didn't even care about it.
Scale it down to 50. Tell 20 people they can't come. You know, it's just so goofy.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So anyway, so you then have
I called her immediately. As soon as I saw these people, I called her and I felt bad.
I know.
And I says, well, I had an option. I said, I'll give you your money back, or we can cancel the event. I'll give you your money back, and I'll do 100% free catering for you anywhere that you want it. I'll go to you.
Yeah.
And I says, or the plan 2, since you have a guest list, I'll call a friend of mine that has a venue within 2 miles. I'll bring all my event furniture. I'll bring the DJ. I'll pay for the food. I says, we'll hurry up and scramble and put your event together. And I also had 2 of my employees to hold a sign giving a map to any of her guests that showed up to this place.
Oh my gosh.
To get her to the new venue.
So tell me about the new venue. That didn't work out so well, according to you?
Oh, not at all. So the new venue was maybe a couple of miles away from the original. It looked like a place that hadn't been open in a decades. It was. It was very old. It was not modern at all. It was nothing like what I expected. So when you went in, it was a really huge space that was on a pier. It was near the pier, and so it was probably the hottest night in the month of September. And so it looked like it hadn't been open. So there was no air conditioning. It was extremely hot in the space.
Okay, stop a second. Is there air conditioning in your place?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was air conditioning in the new place. It's on the pier. It's California.
Is there air conditioning or wasn't there?
There was. It might have not been cold enough for her at the moment, but they had air conditioning.
Okay.
I have pictures of that venue.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Do you have pictures of your party?
So I only have pictures of the outside. I don't have pictures of the party.
Can I see the pictures?
On my phone, I could find them for you, Yana.
So go on.
And so
did he bring the furniture in?
A light or 2 that was in the other
furniture.
No furniture.
He did not bring furniture.
He did not bring furniture.
Okay. Is she lying?
Yes. We brought VIP furniture. I have it right here at the Queen's Wharf. We brought, she rented 3 different sections, a black, a red, and a purple.
And you brought in all that?
We brought that furniture at the venue.
And you're saying he's lying?
There was absolutely no furniture.
Okay,
Are you guys kidding me? Well, show me the pictures of the party. I heard you had them. Show me the pictures of the party. They're on your phone. Don't,
No. So the phone that I have, the pictures on, I don't have that phone anymore. And those were not, we did not have any furniture at all. We only had the furniture.
I don't want to hear your flapping gums. I want to see pictures of your party.
So I don't have the pictures of.
Why wouldn't you have pictures of the party that you're saying was so terribly ruined by him and had no furniture? That's one of the things you're proving, that you didn't have a real party that you should have to pay all that for. The man's saying he brought all the furniture there. Pictures of your party would show me it makes me nervous that you won't show me pictures of your party. I heard that you had brought pictures of your party. That's what my staff told me. Why are you all of a sudden not showing it to me?
No, I don't have pictures of the party, but I have, let's see, something I can find.
This is the restaurant side of that venue.
But this is the pictures you're going to show me are of the setup for her party or for her party?
Before it even started. On that whole side.
This is how you set it up for her party?
I set up each section. A purple section.
No. Not at all.
Yeah. Who's the fellow next to you?
This is my boyfriend.
Does that look anything like?
Not at all. There's the pictures of the actual party.
Stand up, boyfriend. Were you there or were you not the boyfriend then?
No, I wasn't there, no.
You weren't there? Sit down, boyfriend.
There it is. There's the picture. So you see the large room and you see gentlemen sitting in a space. That was the only chairs offered.
Did you even go in the video on that side?
And
because the place was big, it was the dance floor area.
Yes, we did.
Where I set the DJ in the middle of the dance floor.
Right.
Then they had a pool table section, and then her VIP section was to the right. But she only had
from the dance section?
Yeah, absolutely. She only had 20
totally
people at her party. I don't even know if they even went.
Wait, I want you to listen
Hold
to
on,
my
ma'am.
question. Everybody stop talking over me. The VIP section in your place, does it have a view of the dance floor?
Yes.
Okay, the VIP section you set up in this place, people would have to leave the party to go sit in?
No, they can still see it. It just was 3 sections.
But is it still right amidst the dance floor?
Yes, to the right of it. Yes.
So as you can see on the pictures that I have there is no VIP section.
No, I can't, because the pictures you have are 85% taken up with human faces. So no, I can't see that.
There was that setup that was not there at all. Absolutely not.
So go on.
And so he and I, the section that we actually spoke in, he and I together on that night in the area where there's a pool table, he and I sat there and we talked about a potential refund. And so he talked to me about, he offered me to have another party on New Year's Eve, another party on Christmas, and I told him I wanted a full refund. And so
How would you get a full refund? Because you were able to have a party. He catered the party. How much food did you bring for how many people?
I brought enough for at least 100 because I was expecting 75.
And then it turns out how many went?
Less than 30
Why?
people came. Because of the change of the venue. Because
Are you serious? That's the kind of friends you have?
No.
Because I saw the emails that you proffered as evidence. They're emails. You know the difference between a notarized statement and an email, right? Because I could create 17,000 email accounts right now on Gmail and send myself a bunch of emails and call it evidence. But one of them says, happy birthday, I'm sorry I didn't stay longer, but the place was so skank I couldn't, or some like crazy thing like that. Really? Really? That's the kind of friends that you invite to a birthday party, or that's just cooking it up for me? I mean, come on.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So the question, should the plaintiff get a full refund?
No, definitely not.
Why?
She's already had the party. She should have got the refund before the switch up.
That's actually a really good point, that maybe you do it before. She had it, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't everything she wanted.
She didn't get what she bargained for, so she deserves a full refund.
Even though she had the party at a different location that the guy gave her and she had the whole party?
I don't care. It was negotiated beforehand.
What do you think?
I think she should have gotten the refund before.
But she didn't. She had the party.
Yeah.
Did she get anything back?
No, I don't think so.
Because she had the party.
Yeah, she already had the party. It's already done.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Here's the thing. I agree that what happened to you was bad and worth something, but it really, really upsets me when someone's trying to cook it up and make it, worse and because it makes me not trust you. When you give me as a piece of evidence an email from some unknown source, unsigned, unnotarized, that says, let me not put words in anybody's mouth. I'm going to read the exact email so that you can understand what's got me bent out of shape on that. I was delighted that you invited me to your birthday party. I wish that I could have remained there longer, but the venue was not very clean and run down. The tables and chairs are raggedy and not suitable for entertaining guests. Nice email. Seriously, that's like that's something that I'm supposed to put some weight on? All right, so.
Yana, can I just say this?
Yeah.
Right here? I don't know why people didn't show up to her party, because I paid two employees to stand outside my building till midnight, holding a sign with a map to direct them to the new building. And it was only like
You tried very, very hard. It doesn't mean there wasn't a problem. But you tried very, very hard, even to the point of paying your 2 employees there till midnight to redirect them, bringing all the food. Now, the DJ is the same DJ she would have had?
She would have had that same DJ, so I did say I paid the DJ, but I was going to pay him regardless at my venue. Because you got to realize now.
Right. So that was, okay.
Yeah.
So you brought the DJ, you brought the food overs. The only change was the venue.
Right, and I got to say this. I don't know if you
And you have no pictures of the venue to show me how much worse it was than the first place.
Only the pictures that I have there.
The pictures you have are of heads, honey. Maybe you didn't pull. I want you to show me pictures of the venue. There is one picture where I can see the guy, the girl that's dancing in front of him, and a sliver of a chair. I want pictures. See, here's the thing. You're trying to prove the venue stunk. And it was so much worse than the other one. You are the plaintiff. You have the burden of proof. That means you have to prove to me the second venue. What you've already proven to me without even trying, hey, he changed the venue on me. That's worth something. But you want the whole thing refunded because the place was so awful. All right? Then that's the part you've got to prove to me. And if you think a bunch of anonymous emails proves it, you are out of your mind. Okay? Because I know you took more pictures than that. Because I know that those are just the little collage you made. You made a collage out of the pictures that you have. So that tells me that there's something going on. Then he shows me all of the couch setups. He says, this is her party. I set it up. I am suspicious. All right. So you ended up offering to her. When did you first learn that she wanted all of her money back?
She mentioned it that night at the party.
Oh, because you were at the party?
I made sure I insured this party. I made sure I went to this party. And may I say this to you, Yana, one last thing? She didn't rent my building for her party. This is something that we did every Friday. It was called Purple Fridays. I was open to the public. She only rented VIP sections. So I had to close my whole venue for the evening. So I moved her party because she had a party within my party. So I just want to mention that she didn't book my place just for her party.
Right.
She was just kind of joining the party that we have every Friday.
Right.
I did offer to refund her money at the party. Then we thought about it on a corporate level, and we says, no, wait. Monday morning came, she called me back. She had her mom call me. And I didn't want to disrespect the lady, but she was very going off on me and, just going off. You better give me my daughter's money and blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't rude. I said, yes, ma'am. But then we talked about it as my board, because I got a pretty big company. I'm a celebrity chef.
What's that mean? You cook for celebrities, or you are a celebrity?
Yeah, I'm formerly from the Food Network, Celebrity Chef Mouton.
Do you have a restaurant?
We used to own Gumbos in the Crenshaw
Oh, you're in
Mall.
California. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we thought about it, and then we said no.
Well, but how could you think she's not entitled to anything? She, as you said, she rented a VIP. She expected a certain thing, which is 3 VIP sections at a party that you have that obviously is a good party. Every Friday night you open up, you obviously have a lot of people going there, so that was the experience that she paid to have.
Absolutely.
And instead, she had a totally different experience in a totally different place. So, how could you think it's worth zero?
No, I didn't think it was worth zero. I actually, that's why I offered her a party of 75, completely catered with servers at your venue.
You have the choice to reject that, but why did you?
Because that's not what I wanted to have a party on my birthday on that evening. And so I didn't want to.
You have another birthday?
Well, that would have been another year, but that wasn't something I was
31,
interested in.
Your 32's coming up. It's got to be close.
That wasn't something I was
They get closer and closer, honey.
I offered like a Christmas holiday party, maybe something for the family.
Yeah, that's fine, but it is within her right to. So what I've got to decide is, this is what we call what, Douglas?
Little rough justice.
Little rough justice. This is where it's not a science, it's an art. Where I sit around here and I think about everything you guys said, and I try to determine a dollar figure of what it's worth, taking into account things like your lack of proof. He has pictures that show the thing was set up. You don't have any pictures to show it wasn't. I think that what really happened is that night you got a little pushy and it worked, and he was agreeing to pay it, and then he changed his mind, which he can. He can change his mind, because that's an attempt at settlement, and then he kind of turns around and changes his mind. The fact that she accepted that you move it to another venue, there are some judges who may look at that as a settlement. I don't, because I think that you're under a gun where people are expecting a party. You don't want to cancel the party. To me, that's kind of, you don't have a choice but to take that offer. So I do think that she still has a right to fight that, to litigate it. I just don't think it's worth $800, because you haven't proven that it's worth $800. Yeah.
Jan, I want to say this too. She has been, I'm going to be honest with you, she has been the nicest person. I mean, when I told her we had to move her venue, she didn't freak out. She was really calm, and I felt for that. I don't know
how much you felt. You didn't offer any money. I mean, what?
No, we did.
Would you have to? How much money did you offer?
We did offer to pay her back right then and there, or.
Yeah, but then you reneged on that.
And I wasn't able to contact him afterwards. So
stop. You offered to pay her
we
back.
offered right then on the spot.
Why didn't you just pay her then?
Because she said she didn't want to cancel her party.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
I would have accepted
of
my
course
money.
she doesn't want to cancel her party. That's fine. But okay, I got it. Stop.
Yeah.
All right. Based on what I've heard, I'm going to order the defendant to pay back the plaintiff a third of her fee, which is $266. That is my judgment. Good luck, folks.
We'll see what the defendant has to say. Coming on out here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the celebrity chef right here. What's your reaction to the outcome?
You know what? It was fair, man.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have probably even been here to court today, but you know what? She felt the way she felt.
Why shouldn't we have been here?
Well, I think there's something we could have solved, back home.
You offered her enough.
I tried.
All right, so give us a name-dropping, celebrity exciting story.
Oh, my
Come
God.
on.
You can
Drop
name
a
them
name.
all,
Hurry
from
up.
Jay-Z to Beyonce to... I've done them all in the green rooms. I do all the BET Award green rooms.
What's Jay-Z's favorite dish?
He likes fish.
He likes fish? What kind? You cooking?
Beyonce likes turkey.
Turkey. Beyonce likes turkey. All right. Good luck to you. Right down this way. All right, so step on in here. Wow, you had the celebrity chef and you took him to court.
Yeah, absolutely. It was something that I know needed to be done.
Mm-hmm. Are you satisfied with what you came out with, a third?
I mean, it was a settlement, and it's over now, so I'm happy about that.
All right. Harvey?
So here's the thing. I mean, the plaintiff didn't get exactly what she bargained for, but she did get something. So what the judge did was accounted for that. This, in the law, there's a legal term for it. It's called equity.
These are the plaintiffs, Richard Weissman and Tricia Horst. Tricia says she and her husband were hired to throw a flamboyant 75th masquerade party for the defendant. The extravagance was huge and cost wasn't an issue until it came time for him to pay up. She and her husband were paid in full, but their hard-working servers and bartenders were stiffed. It's not fair, and they're suing the cheapskate for the $5,000 they're owed. These are the defendants, Neil Zuckerman and Thomas Shivers. Neil says he agreed to pay the servers a huge rate of $15 an hour, and if the plaintiffs promise them more, that's on them. Besides, the servers the plaintiffs hired had no experience. They were on their cell phones during the big party, and there's no way he's paying anything additional. Period. End of story. They're accused of pooping out on the party planners. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $4,000 for an unethical taste testing charge.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. All right, Kenzie B. Productions Incorporated, represented here by Richard Weissman and Tricia Horst. Okay, you are suing Neil Zuckerman and Thomas Shivers for $5,000 that you say you are out in some bills that they haven't paid, plus your time and energy. You are counterclaiming $4,000 for 2 taste testings, plus your time and energy. Who's going to give me for my time and energy? All right, let me hear from, I guess, you first, Ms. Horst. What's going on?
We were hired to do a catering job for a 75th birthday party, which was a masquerade ball party, Venetian masquerade.
Oh, I wish I had gone. Okay.
Quite extravagant.
Whose birthday?
For Neil.
Okay.
And we were doing...
How many people?
It was 100 to 120 is what we were quoted.
Okay.
So we needed a lot of food, a lot of servers, bartenders, et cetera, people to help set up as well, because there was a lot of decorating to do and a lot of unloading and loading for the space.
What kind of decorating did you do?
They actually handled most of the decorating.
What kind of decorating took place for the party?
Rather voluminous, 12-foot floral arrangements.
Do you have pictures?
150 balloons.
I just want to see pictures. I want to see pictures so badly. All right. Anybody have pictures or no?
Not with me.
Oh, y'all killing me.
We have a couple pictures of the servers.
Okay.
Which you can see some of the guests in the background, but you can't.
Okay. Let me see those. Tell me what goes wrong here.
I personally and my husband were giving the job to staff, and they wanted...
How many staff was there that night?
9.
Okay.
And so I was given the job to hire attractive young people. They didn't want anyone that wasn't well kept, well groomed, on the floor, serving, bartending, setting up, picking up empty glasses or, food plates, any of that.
Okay.
Both the bartenders that were there.
How many? There's 9 people in question. Do you have resumes for them? Not really, right?
Most of them,
You
yes.
do have resumes.
We
Can
do.
I see them? All right. And you also promised me pictures. I don't see pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, I see pictures. All right. But I can't see much here. All right. Wait, is that staff wearing masks anyway? Geez, you could have hired anybody if they were going to wear masks anyway. You're covering their beautiful young faces. All right, so go on.
So they showed...
Did anything go wrong at the party? Okay.
At one point, Neil made the comment that, he wanted them to move around more and be out there serving more. Then I talked to the staff, and they said, other than putting the tray under the guest's face, they couldn't force them to eat, and they didn't want to interrupt the conversations they were having.
All right, so
did.
When is the first inkling you have that there's a problem? You find out, let's jumpstart this a little. It turns out that you had promised the wait staff that they would be getting $20 an hour, and the more experienced ones would be getting $25. And it turns out that you had not promised the wait staff that, nor according to you, had you authorized her to do that.
Correct.
I would like to see, because that is the crux of the original problem, which was a $433 problem, that has apparently turned into a $9,000 problem, because now you've all grown to hate each other. All right, so let's talk about this. Do you have anything in writing before the party of what your agreement is, a contract, anything like that?
No.
You can't be serious.
We had done events with them many times.
So what? All of them should be with a contract.
And they've been friends.
I'm
We've
sorry,
not
do
ever
not
had-
use contracts. You're an event planner. Event planners always have contracts.
But they've been friends forever.
But what, why would, okay, that's who I want to keep as a friend. Somebody who's been friends for years so that there is no misunderstanding later. That way you can work everything out beforehand. It's a good idea, especially when they're friends. So no contract in this case. How about emails before the event in this case that cover the issue so that I can see what the meeting of the minds was beforehand on whether it was $15 an hour? How much did this party cost, by the way?
About $10,000 on our part.
And how much did the party cost entire? I mean,
15 to 18,000 total.
on your part.
Yeah.
All right. So you receive a bill. Okay, first of all, tell me what you think the problems were with the party that night.
The problems were that the 7 out of the 9 people that they brought to us to hire did not know what they were doing. They would come out with the food and they'd stand a group of the 3 passers or 4 passers. I had to go over to them and I had to pull them aside to teach them that what you do is you go over to the people, you show them the tray, they can either take it or not, but that you don't all group together. You go in the whole party. The other thing was the bartenders would open multiple bottles of name liquors. Whereas if they just used, and we ended up with, half full bottles, 2, 3 of the same brand.
Right, because if they're unopened, you can go back to the liquor store and say, I overbought. All right.
And in many cases, when we tried to find the staff to do stuff, this was in the preparation, they were somewhere on their cell phones. They were constantly having to ask them to get off their cell phones and come and help.
All right. What did you think you were going to be paying them?
$15 an hour unless they were good, and then we were going to give them more.
All right, so then you tell them, I'm going to pay the wait staff, you pay the wait staff. The wait staff starts to complain to you, this isn't what we talked about, right? And then you send an email to them saying, listen, you shortchanged the wait staff a total of $433.75. Right. I need you to pay them because, they're looking to me to get paid. And then the fun begins. If you think the masquerade party was fun, you should see these emails, folks. You're telling them absolutely not. How dare you? You folks end up writing these single-space 22-inch emails back about how difficult they were and how cheap they are. And it just went lower and lower and lower from there, correct?
It
right. What did you want to add?
Very dramatic.
So during the second tasting, we also covered the topic of costs, and we were going to itemize everything. And they said, "No, we know you're going to be fair. You take care of it." Okay. I don't want. Did
you guys ever make the statement? No, we know you're going to be fair. You take care of it.
I don't know that I would have said that.
I mean, that sounds like something you might have said.
Somewhere in that area, yes.
Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
They asked us if they could send the checks to make up the difference that they thought that the staff was ordered, and we told them unequivocally no.
No, absolutely not.
And then they proceeded to do it anyway.
They did not do their best. They were on the phone. I had to tell them to pass. The bartender was opening up. Right. Yeah. And then and it goes on from there. Let me just ask you this: you have a counterclaim against them. Well, you receive a bill that now this is a bill that you had already paid?
Yes.
Okay, and it was a bill that you paid for $8,000?
Yes, something.
One of the items was $500 for taste testing.
Correct.
Because there were 2 taste testing.
Yes.
And were you surprised when you saw in the bill $250 for each taste?
Not at the time, but later when I learned that if you use a caterer, you don't pay for tastings.
Meaning that's the industry standard. You spoke to
Correct.
that's what you're arguing, is that you spoke to other caterers and that, okay.
Yeah.
So the taste testings, what's the deal here? Why would you charge somebody who ended up using your services $250 for each of the taste testings?
Because our agreement with them was time and materials. And we did not build a profit into anything that was done. We did not build a profit into any
How many meals were served?
2 meals. In fact, they got exhausted and they had to stop at some point because there were just too many items for them to taste.
Did you ever tell them there's a $250 charge for each of these meals that we're having in taste testing? Or it was my time and my efforts and we'll all work it out later? Sounds like everybody was a
It
little
was-
loosey-goosey here.
It was because
Very
we've done
loosey-goosey.
events with them. We've done events at their space, which
What
were
did you
wine
want to show me?
tastings.
For the tastings, there were a large number of the, one of the events was, there were sushi platters, which were pre-done. The pancakes were ordered.
If you think I'm going to go into how much,
Never mind.
That
It was
we're
all-
not gonna do.
half of the food was not prepared by them. It was flown in from people.
Okay, but flown in from people. Okay, gotcha. Let's,
May I?
no, stick a fork in me. I am done.
Catering standard.
This hors d'oeuvre is done. Okay?
Catering standard.
Everybody stop.
Our
Everybody stop.
experience.
Let me tell you exactly what is happening here. This is a simple problem. Everybody here, I believe, has a very legitimate difference of opinion. You feel that in general, you were generous and you were overcharged and that they spent like drunken sailors your money without you knowing about it. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. If you don't know what you're spending, then you don't know what you're spending. If you don't have a contract that lays out how much is going to be spent on each thing, this is what happened. You feel like you cannot believe that they threw an $18,000 party and are nickel and diming you over $433. Whose fault is that? It's your fault, because if you don't have a contract and it doesn't spell out exactly what the deal is, then here's a surprise. Everybody has a different recollection about what the deal is, okay? I have to determine what the deal is. I may not have to determine exactly what the deal is because you're the plaintiffs and you're the people with the burden of proof, okay? So if you can't prove that it's what you said, I can just call it. But what concerns me is one particular email that I read. This is from Tricia and Rick, I don't know who authored it, to Neil and Tom. We have been slowly hearing from our staff that they, except for one person, did not receive the amount of money we told them to expect and receive. The main staff was told they would get paid $20 an hour unless they did not perform their responsibilities as instructed, in which case they would get $15 an hour. And then the next sentence is, you did not have license to pay them $15 an hour. So this is an admission on your part that there was discussion about 15 versus 20. So if there's no understanding that you're going to decide whether they're great instead of they're going to decide whether they're great, how do you come off deciding that you're going to decide whether they're great? If you in fact admit that you had a discussion with them, that it would be 20 if they're good, but 15 if they're not, and they decide they're not good, then what is all of this indignance about?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Does the defendant have to pay the additional $5?
No,
Why?
because he's the one that made the whole offer.
Well, he's the one that said, hey, I'm not happy with it, but can he rule in this thing? The plaintiff's saying the service was great.
I mean, he's paying for it, so I mean, why not pay the extra $5? I mean,
Well, he doesn't want to pay the extra $5. What do you think? Does he have to pay it or not?
The customer's always right. I've worked in the restaurants, and no matter what, it's always the customer's always right. And the plaintiff is the one that
He made the deal, so he has to live by it.
Right.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
You don't have a right to the $433.75 under the facts of this case without having a written agreement beforehand, and much less with an email that acknowledges that 15 is what was discussed if the people weren't up to par.
Can I say one thing?
No, you
Judge?
cannot. So therefore, you don't get the interest and you don't get the administrative costs. On your counterclaim against them, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You behave in a fashion when you get that bill as though it's not an outrage. You went ahead and you paid the $500 for the 2 taste testings, which is kind of an acknowledgement that you expected to pay for all that time and effort and cooking and whatever else, whether it's flown in, prepared by her, or whatever the heck it is.
Your Honor, we can...
No, you may not.
Oh.
This is the part. What part is this, Douglas?
Time for you to rule.
Okay. So when you go ahead and pay it, and even if you guys did not agree specifically on what the tasting would cost, you certainly agreed on time and expenses. And in a very loosey-goosey kind of way, because you can afford it. So it was just kind of that way until it wasn't. Everybody's happy until they're not. Then they come in front of me. So, but the best evidence of that is that it was paid until there was the discrepancy on the other thing. So on your counterclaim 0, on your claim 0, was the party fun?
It was wonderful.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Send me pictures.
I
Good luck, folks.
absolutely
All right, let's hold on right there, please. So, in what was a very interesting case, if you'll step over here, sir, please. Let me just chat with you for a minute. I mean, this was really interesting, very interesting. I think everybody who watched this learned something, and I hope you learned something. Did you?
We learned about contracts, and
Yes.
you can't trust just speaking to friends or what the past has been experience.
You learned a big lesson. Thank you very much. So if you'll go out to the officer, he's waiting for you. Okay? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, if you'll join me. Nobody wins anything here. You didn't win this case either. If you'll step right here, let me just ask you something. Did you learn something the hard way here about contracts?
Yes, that you do a complete contract.
Tell me about the party, real quick. How great was it?
The party was fantastic, with the exception that
The food was really bad.
the food was bad and the
And did people complain afterwards? Food was lousy, didn't enjoy the party?
No, but
Nobody even talked about the food.
Some of us told them that they never even saw the hors d'oeuvres.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a bust.
The party was good.
The staff that they supplied was a bust, with the exception of 2 people who were really good.
But the party itself,
The party was
overall,
fantastic, and I
that's
will
what
be
counts.
sending the judge
That's
pictures.
what counts. Okay, and do send her.
Oh,
She'll
yes.
love to see him.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Joe.
you.
We appreciate it. Wow, what a case. Harvey?
Okay, Doug. So it is, I'm telling you, insane when you have a really important function like a wedding or a big birthday party, something like that, not to have a written contract where all of the specifics, every single detail you can think of, laid out in the contract.
These are the plaintiffs, Tracy Borman and Francis Deneen. Tracy says they hired the defendant to cater their wedding, and the woman turned what was supposed to be the best day of their lives into the worst day of their lives. Her food was inedible. The woman grabbed them off the dance floor during their wedding dance, and they want a full refund of their ruined wedding reception. So they're suing for $3,500. This is the defendant, Natalie Emerson. She says the plaintiff was an out-of-control bridezilla who complained about every little thing, and she worked her butt off trying to please them because she's a professional. She did everything she was hired to do, and there's no way she's giving this out-of-control woman a refund. She's accused of ruining a big day.
All parties, please raise your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Borman and Mr. Deenan, tell me your tale of woe. What did you hire her to do, and what ended up going wrong?
She was hired to be the caterer.
Okay, and then what was she supposed to serve?
The dinner was either surf and turf, and the surf and turf was steak and baked stuffed shrimp, and then there was chicken dish.
Okay, great. So what went wrong?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Natalie that.
No, I'm asking you because you're the one filing a lawsuit, so you're the one complaining. So I need you to tell me what went wrong.
From the moment we walked in, Natalie was still getting the tables set up. And from the moment we stepped foot in the door, Natalie accused my 3 children, who were in strollers, mind you, they're almost 3 and 10 months old, and then accused them of being in the way for nothing being finished. I had the hall rented from 4 to 8 p.m., and I had to pay the bartender, the hall, and the DJ an extra hour just so we can enjoy ourselves and have some dance time, because Natalie didn't get any of the food out until 7:30, 7:45, when the salad was first served. We did our cake cutting ceremony before anybody was served a salad.
Really? What time were
Yes,
what
and
time
we
were
had to
people
beg
supposed to be eating?
Not even, it was supposed to be 45 minutes once everybody got into the hall after we
Okay,
were announced.
what time were people due at the hall?
4 o'clock.
Okay, so it's scheduled at 4, and then according to you, the salads were not served until what time?
7:30, 7:45 at night.
What did everybody do from 4 to 7:30?
Sat at their tables or walked around saying hi to everybody. We even did the garter ceremony before anyone ate.
Okay.
Come time for the toast, nobody had the flute glasses that she was supposed to provide.
Okay, do you have an actual contract with her in writing about what is her responsibility and what is not?
No, Your Honor. Every time Francis and I had asked Miss Natalie for a contract, she said, "Oh, I'll get it. Oh, I'll email you one. Oh, I'll get it to you." Never received nothing.
So when the food came, how was the food?
The food was horrible.
What was wrong with it?
The steak looked like she slaughtered a cow in the kitchen and plopped it on a plate. I sent you a picture of that. The chicken was hockey pucks. The potatoes were hard as a rock. The vegetables were mush. That's the steak she served, Your Honor.
Listen, I like my steak raw. I mean, I like it mooing, but
yeah, but that's
mooing,
that was
mooing but not moving. Yeah. Ms. Emerson, let me hear from you. What happened at this facility? What happened at this wedding? Why would steak like that be served? She has so many complaints. I'd like to give you a chance to address them.
He ordered rare. Rare is temped out at 125 to 130. I explained that during phone conversations with her, that rare is really rare.
Okay, listen, I've been around the block a few times. I really have. Definitely. And I don't know that I would call this a rare steak. I would call this an uncooked steak.
If I can get to where I need to go.
No, I need you to answer exactly what I just asked, because that's where the rubber meets the road in your answers to my cross-examination. You're going to tell me that is a rare steak? That's what that is?
Please, yes, that's rare. Tempt to 130.
But according to her, the food wasn't even served until 8 o'clock at night. That's 4 hours after people came.
Not true.
Okay, well, what time was the food served according to you?
It was approximately 4:30, right around there. But
so you served dinner at 4:30?
We started around, yes.
Okay. And then what, if anything, went wrong during the night? Because she seems to have been very unhappy that night.
A lot of things went wrong that night.
Such as?
The first thing that went wrong was the fact that I told her, if you come early, the people will find out you're there and they'll all start coming. And this previous time is meant for the caterer to set up, the DJ to set up, for us to get the hall ready. We had to literally work around people to get this set up.
That's great. Let's talk about the food, because the food is what we're concerned about. That's the part that she's trying to get a refund for, because she said the food was awful and 4 hours after people got there. She's
now,
not
why
talking.
Did everybody eat it? We had 3 metal bowls of a little bit of garbage come back with some salad, the little tips of the shrimp, and a few odds and ends. That's it. We served seconds. We served thirds. Yes, we did.
Okay, don't talk to each other. I can't have you just shouting out things while. Go ahead, go on.
Right. None of the counts were right. So I sent the girls back out around to do an actual, I don't care what they want to have. I just need to know who wants what at those tables. So they came back with proper counts. We were trying to come out with 4 tables worth of food. The photographer had her foot in the door. She came to the door as I was going to put my hand to the doorknob. As the door flew at me, it hit me in the head, knocked my hat off. I went back about 2 feet, and she starts yelling at me, I have to talk to you right now.
Well, what did she want to talk to you about?
I have no idea. I never ended up talking to her. All right.
What was the photographer going in there to talk to her about, Ms. Borman?
The photographer was going in there to ask her an ETA on when the food was coming out. And Miss Natalie never got hit with the door. She put her hands on my photographer. And you have my photographer, Shannon Gabriel's statement.
Throughout the evening, there have been multiple mishaps regarding the staff she had hired to do the catering. It took quite some time for all the food to get to the tables. The children were supposed to be served with the bridal party. They ended up being served last. The prime rib was so undercooked that guests were immediately getting sick. The chicken was so dry, it was not even able to be cut. And the vegetables were so overcooked, they were basically mush. Okay? Tell me what else went wrong that night that prevented you from doing your job properly.
Okay. We weren't even notified they were going to start coming in. By anyone. From the toast, going forward, everything, we had problems with people opening that door, knocking trays over, people getting hurt, plates getting broken, and they did not care. One got tipped over by children. I had to recook it, get more plates out of the truck. Then we put them on platters instead. That got tipped over by them again. I cooked it all over again. So I cooked those kids' meals 2 times. When we brought the food back out to the kids' tables, there were 2 of the children not there.
All right. I'd like to go back to Ms. Borman. You've submitted numerous witness statements, like 15, 20 witness statements, the gist of which are almost entirely that the food was awful, that the chicken was inedible, that the steaks were all undercooked, and that many of them had to go get food later. You have some witnesses who you want me to hear from now. Let me hear from your first witness.
Yes, my witness, Amy Sullivan Haggerty, who was my maid of honor.
Let me hear from her. Can you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Talk to me and tell me what went wrong here.
The day started about 2 o'clock when we arrived at the hall. The food started coming out, was salad and bread.
At what time did the salad and the bread come out? Do you remember?
4:45-ish.
All right. And then what happened?
It was a solid hour and a half, I would say, after, because natives started getting very restless, wondering where the food was. The kids especially started getting really anxious. You can tell when little kids start getting hungry because they start not listening, running around, getting into things.
I thought they started that way, though. All right. So when the food does come, how was the food?
Horrible.
Why?
It was mooing. I like my prime rib, my steak, rare-ish. You could see the slap marks on this stuff. I mean, I was waiting for it to crawl away.
Did you eat the steak or no? Because she says there was very little waste in the garbage.
Yeah, from the head table and being seated at the head table, I can tell you that I think people took maybe 1 or 2 bites and went, no. The vegetables were complete mush. The shrimp was undercooked. You know, when you have squishy shrimp, it's not good. It just wasn't edible.
And did the cake cutting ceremony actually precede the food?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I myself went back to the kitchen and had asked about the toasting glasses that were supposed to have come out, where I was yelled at to get out of the kitchen, saying she didn't have time to get the toasting glasses out there because she was busy getting the food ready. And with all the interruptions, she couldn't get the food ready and for me to get out of her kitchen. Okay. So we weren't able to do the toast because she didn't put the toast glasses out on the head table or any of the other tables. Oh, yeah. And she tried to blame the bride and groom's 3-year-old daughter for getting in the way, for not being able to put the toasting glasses on the table.
Okay. Can I talk to you about what happened with you on the dance floor? Because I'm very concerned about that and I want to hear about that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I had to pay an extra hour just so we could have dance time. And I was finally starting to enjoy my night, dancing with my new family, my family and friends. And Miss Natalie decides she comes up to the dance floor and she literally put her hands on my forearm, says, "I have to talk to you," and pulled me off the dance floor. And she's sitting there saying how she didn't ruin anything. And I was like, listen, you're ruining my day. Get away from me.
What was she trying to say to you that she hadn't ruined? Why? Because someone else had said to her that she had ruined the night?
I honestly don't know, Your Honor.
Switch with Amy, Ms. Borman. What I want to know about is what happened when the bride was dancing on the dance floor. Go ahead. What did you witness happen?
This was at the end of the evening, Your Honor. We were trying to wrap things up. And she came over and pulled Tracy off the floor. I put myself in between the two of them. What she had said to me was, the whole stress of the day, she didn't mean to ruin anything. She didn't see any waste of food. She doesn't know why everybody's so upset. She spent money out of her own pocket to make things better. None of this should have happened. This should have been a good day. People kept interrupting her in the kitchen. That's why things, were late coming out. that she had a pacemaker, that she was all sorts of stressed out over this whole thing, that she did this as a favor to somebody that she'll never do again.
Okay. Does that sound familiar, Ms. Emerson? Can you tell me about that?
That is definitely was in the conversation. There's no doubt. I never dragged her off that dance floor. I tapped her on the arm. She wasn't even dancing. So I tapped her on her arm. I did not grab her.
And then what did you discuss with her?
She put her hand up and said, "I'm not talking to you." And I was like, and I was dumbfounded that she wouldn't talk to me. So then that's when I talked to the maid of honor.
Yes, go on. And what did you say to the maid of honor?
I said to her, look, a lot of things happened here today, but I don't understand why she's saying that we've ruined her day. I really don't. Everybody has eaten the food. Nothing has come back for garbage. If they didn't like it, we would have fixed something. There were no complaints from them. I got compliments from them myself when I was setting up the dessert table.
What were you hearing people say, Amy?
Certainly wasn't compliments about the food. My husband was also part of the crowd of guests, and he was sitting at the far end of the hall. And there was a lot of gagging sounds from the other end. I mean, he was making faces at me from the other end of the hall that I could see.
Let me hear from the husband. We haven't heard anything from the husband.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening. How was the food?
It was definitely not edible to eat. And I'm a very good cook myself, so I do know what food needs to be cooked like.
Okay. Can I ask you, was Tracy complaining during the night? Was she upset?
Yes.
What was she saying?
We all were. Well, the food, of course, the food didn't come out in a timely manner. I mean, we literally had to come out of pocket to extend the day because the food was so late, so everybody could enjoy themselves.
Okay. Did you witness anything on the dance floor of her trying to talk to Tracy while Tracy was dancing?
Yes, ma'am. I was standing in front of the head table talking to my groomsman, my best man, and I seen her grab her and drag her off the floor. And not like drag like she's like muscling her, but she did pull her off the floor. And I suffer from PTSD due to Desert Storm because I was in the military, and I literally almost flipped my lid, Your Honor.
Thank you for your service. And how did you flip your lid? What'd you do?
Oh, it's just, I really wanted to like step in and say something stupid. But I kind of, they say cooler heads prevail.
Okay.
So
now,
I just try to.
I have a lawsuit here where the plaintiffs are asking. It's not like everything went swimmingly and you're shocked and appalled that these people are trying to chisel money back from you in order to make a buck. People were complaining all night long. People were going into the kitchen to find out where the heck the food is. People were, in fact, she says they were going in there too much, and she was stressing out. I don't think that she was equipped to handle a 100-person wedding. I just don't. I don't think her stress level can handle it. She's very high-strung, and I think that what happened here pretty obviously, not just from the testimony on your side, but the testimony on their side, is that they couldn't handle the stress of an active wedding with people running around and demanding, where's my food? I don't care which table sent this back. This is the way the meat comes from the butcher. This is not cooked. And it's obvious to me that it took an hour and a half to get stuff out because otherwise people wouldn't keep coming to the kitchen to get mad at her and interrupt her. So it's clear to me that there were problems. Now, you can't tell me that nobody ate at your wedding because I'm not going to buy it. Lots of people had chicken, so people ate. So it's not as though I'm going to order her to return 100% of the catering bill. I'm not. Okay? I think that there were significant problems, and based on what I've heard, I'm going to order her to return half of it. $1,250 verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks. May the marriage go better than the wedding, and may the wedding have gone well anyway. Because that's the key to a happy marriage. You have fun anyway.
Exactly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So things did not work out too well for the defendant in this case. She obviously got rather upset. She has left the courtroom, so to speak, but the plaintiffs prevailed. Tracy, the most important thing is, how's married life? We haven't heard any comment about that. How is it?
Married life is amazing, sir. He's the most amazing man, amazing father. I couldn't ask for a better person.
All right. Well, listen, that'll wrap it up then for this story. I'm sure you're done with that caterer. She's probably done with the catering business once and for all. And good luck to you.
I hope so.
You're going to get money back.
Thank you, sir.
You've prevailed.
Well, Doug, it's pretty simple. In a situation like this, look, the caterer made some mistakes, but that doesn't mean that the catering was valueless. What the judge has to do is kind of figure out, using rough justice, how much value was there in what the caterer did properly. And that's precisely what the judge did.
If you live in a manufactured home community where you lease the land but own the home, and tree roots from an adjacent lot cause damages to your home, is the property owner responsible?
Well, I guess the first question is, who is the property owner? If you're leasing the land, then presumably you have a lease, a rental agreement, a lease agreement with the
So there must be
landlord
some
owner.
main landlord that leases it
Right.
to these different manufactured homes?
Right. Normally, the owner is going to be responsible for trees that are on the property. If you rent a house from me and I've got a bunch of trees on the property and the trees are growing under the fence and damaging the driveway, the septic tank, the foundation, the swimming pool of my neighbor, and they have a complaint, they're not going to take it up with the guy who's renting. They're going to take it up with the owner.
Right, but here's the thing. If you own your land and I own mine, and a tree root from a tree on your land starts to grow into my land, I have the opportunity, the right, and also the obligation to cut down and up as much as I want without consulting you, but it's on me to do it.
Right. That's
so
the
I guess
general
in
rule.
this
You're right.
question, I guess what she's saying is, hey, the same person owns the tree as the roots, and wherever they're going, and it's the landlord we lease from,
Right.
and are they responsible? But my question is, responsible for what? What happened with the roots?
Well, that's true. Apparently, they've damaged the foundation or damaged the home somehow, but...
So I guess the answer to this person's question is it depends.
Right,
It
it
depends on the
depends.
kind of damage, how it happened, whether
Right.
it was obvious and notorious to her,
Do they
whether
have a lease that says you're responsible for any
for
trees
maintaining
adjacent
the
to-
roots.
Right.
Did you know
Right.
what was happening and then not take care of it?
Right.
Did you, what is it that it did, et cetera, et cetera?
This is the plaintiff, Naomi Cruz. She says she hired the defendant to cater her daughter's quinceañera party, celebrating her big birthday. The defendant knew she was going to have 200 people in attendance, and horror of horrors, they ran out of food, and some people didn't get to eat. This is totally unacceptable, and she wants a refund, so she's suing for $2,778. This is the defendant, Paul Rivera. He says the plaintiff wasn't sure how many people she was having, and when all was said and done, there were 235 people who showed. He feels bad some people didn't get to eat his delicious food, but how's a mess up on the amount of people on the plaintiff's guest list his problem? He's accused of playing Hunger Games.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Naomi Cruz, you are suing Paul Rivera, doing business as Lydia's Catering?
Yes, sis.
All right, for $2,778 that you want reimbursed, which is the payment you made to him for food for your daughter's quinceañera.
16.
16 or quinceañera? You call it both things. Quinceañera, we do it at 15. What did you do it at, 16?
Sweet 16.
So did you call it a sweet 16, or you just couldn't help yourself and called it a quinceañera?
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Were you born here? All right. How many generations can we hold on, All right, so talk to me. What happened?
Well, I basically hired him to be the caterer for the Sweet 16. I met up with him back in January a few times. Of course, a lot of planning, a lot of dedication.
What day was your party?
March 24th.
Okay. How'd it go? Other than this, how'd it go?
Other than that, it was
Okay.
successful.
Go ahead.
Beautiful. And basically, the first thing I actually saw was the menus. And I kind of wanted a little different in the menu, because usually Spanish people always have the arroz con gandules, pernil, such type of foods. Of course, it's all delicious, but I wanted it just a little different.
Would be rice with?
peas.
And pernil would be?
Pork.
Right, go ahead.
Roasted pork.
Yeah.
With delicious
I mean,
garlic.
I just licked my lips.
Yeah.
I saw that. Honest to God.
And that's
All right, so
actually
go on.
the main point, the tasting, the flavor, the way my grandmother cooks, everything that I wanted at this event.
In fact, your grandmother wanted to cook for this event.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
She was really excited about cooking. Not only her, but I had aunts, I had friends that were all willing to bring
So why
different
didn't you do
dishes.
that?
Because I didn't want to put everybody through the stress. I really wanted to do everything on my own, which I practically did.
How old's your grandmother?
She's 95.
And good. Que Dios la bendiga, señora. Oh my goodness. God bless her. But she really wanted to cook for all those people?
Well, she was going to chip in. She was going to do most of the cooking. Her rice is delicious. I wish I would have brought a sample.
I know, me too. I wish you would have brought a sample too,
Yes.
All right. Okay, so you decide to hire the caterer.
Yes.
You enter into a contract. Do you have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I do.
May I see it? And do you have a copy as well?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it? I'd like making sure we're all operating off the same document.
This is the actual contract, and this is the final notice that was supposed to be signed at the end of when we arrived to the place. So there's two contracts. There's one with.
Why would there be two contracts? Are they the
There's
same
actually,
thing?
it's the same thing.
Okay.
Just confirming everything.
Okay.
That threw me off also.
So what happens?
What happened? Empanadillas were supposed to be served.
Wait, how many people were you supposed to have?
Approximately a little over 200, about 215, I think.
Wait, hold on.
Probably
Where is that on the contract?
That's and the very first one. That's the very first one when we actually met, Your Honor.
Guests 200.
No, it was actually supposed to be 160, Your Honor.
Right, but who wrote in red?
I wrote in red because at the day of the event, she actually approached me, telling me, Your Honor, that she did not want to pay for 200 guests because she was not sure of how many people were supposed to be arriving to her event, and she was not willing to pay $3,900 for people that she was not sure that she needed to get back all the RSVP. She had a guest list or a guest count, and she needed.
Wait. Rewind.
Okay.
Everybody rewind. Okay. When you originally speak to the caterer, on what date?
It was on the 18th of February. That was the first time we met.
Okay, and the party's on March 24th of that year.
Mm-hmm.
So the party's a month later. Well, it's kind of close. All right, so
Very
that's when you
close.
meet and you tell them it'll be 160 people.
Yes.
At some point before March 24th, did you tell him it would be more than 160?
Yes.
When did you tell him that?
It was about February 27th, February 28th.
Okay, so the end of February, you're telling me that you tell him at this party 3 weeks from now
that we were going to have 200.
We're going to have 200
200 guests.
For sure.
For
because
sure.
you already had your RSVPs.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, he came to the cater place. He came to the hall about 2 or 3 occasions. And we kept, as a matter of fact,
I don't know why that tells him how many people are
his
going to show.
handwriting is on the back of that contract. As far as all the seating arrangements, that was all his sketches.
Is this your handwriting?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you draw this?
That was on February 18th.
Okay, so 29 times 7 tables would be 203 people.
Yes.
That's okay. So on February 18th, you knew there would be 203 people.
I did not know. She did not confirm with me. She told me, yes, I'm sending out invitations. I'm sending out flyers. But the number is not confirmed of how many people is going to be at this party.
So when did you get the number confirmed?
I never got the number confirmed. She kept
How
on.
are you going to cook if you don't know?
The number that I was going by was the number that was I gave her on the contract was for 120 people that she paid for.
No, but wait. So you brought food for 120 when the woman's already told you there's going to be 200? We already have a problem.
She never, on my contract, is confirming of the menu and confirming of guest counts. She was supposed to submit with me 5 days before the event.
But why don't you want this to be a success, right?
Yes.
So 5 days before the event, shame on her for not contacting you. But what about you? Why don't you calling her and telling her, I need to know 200. I want to know how it is that you didn't, because you're the guy with the stress and trying to make sure everything goes well and trying to cook for the right amount of people so that it's not a debacle.
Yes.
So why aren't you calling her to confirm?
I did have been talking to her, and every time we called and every time she wanted to meet up with me, it was about the ranging of where the people are going to go.
No, stop. We're already done arranging. We've arranged to high heaven. Now what we're talking about is the final conversation. Yes, I am confirming for 200.
She never confirmed with
Right,
me.
I understand that's what you're saying. She never did
Okay.
that. My question to you is, why did you, on the day that you're deciding how many to cook for, and you realize a customer has not called you to confirm, why aren't you calling her to confirm?
I have been explaining every time we met, besides the February 18th, every time I went to meet the client at the location, do you have the guest count? Do you know your RSVPs? Oh, I'm not sure yet. No one has got back into me.
But how is it that the day before you don't call her and tell her what's the get? That's it.
The day before I was there, Your Honor, she was like, "Oh, I'm still trying to work out the seating. I'm still trying to work out to see what people."
The day before?
Yes.
All
The
right,
day
watch
before
this.
that Friday.
Watch this. What's going on? How do you not come? Because you can't think that you're going to pay the same for 160 as you are for 200.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. You know that you're going to pay more. So, right?
Right.
Okay. So how is it? The only person I know doesn't have to worry about this is her. She should be, Emma, sit down. Siéntate. Have a great time. Sit down, relax, put your feet up if you like. Okay? That's her day. She's got to worry about hair and nails and dates and dancing. She does not have to worry about this. This job belongs to you and to him.
Yes.
Okay. Now that I've grilled him like a cheeseburger, I'd like to know where your head was at. I want to understand the conversation you two have about how many people are involved.
The night before, I stressed it so much for him to come because I was so worried about not having enough food. Everything on the contract was not promised. What happened to the appetizers? They never showed up. My grandmother was the first one there. And they were never served. The sangria, I don't know what that was. The wine was watered down. Every single text message from my friends and family that came from Florida were like, Naomi, what happened? You planned this for so many months.
Wait, I saw those, but I assume that those were all in preparation for court. Like, your friends and family aren't that rude, right? That they're just telling you, your party's still.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you said to them, I'm going to court, give me some evidence.
No.
Right?
Yes. The soda,
okay.
I think that's when Ashley wants to say.
Ran out at 10:30.
Okay, you have to, if you're going to speak, you have to stand up and go to the microphone.
The soda ran out at 10:30. After my performance, I went to go get something to drink. There was tap water.
What performance?
I performed.
What'd you do?
Dance.
You danced? Did you have a whole court and everything?
Yeah.
And what's a court? Tell me what a court is for the uninitiated.
My court consists of 16 girls, and then my partner and my brother and my sister.
Okay. You also sang?
No, I just danced.
Oh, okay. You danced.
Yeah.
Did you dance like you personally? You alone danced?
Yeah. Me and a company that I'm with.
Okay.
So we all performed, and after I'm done, I'm thirsty. So I went to get something to drink, and can I have soda? There's no soda. They bring me a pitcher of tap water. Don't want it. My friends come to me. The biggest table at the party was my school friends. Not one of my school friends ate. They all went out and got McDonald's and got Kenny's Fried Chicken and came back to the party and ate that.
At your party?
At my party. Because they did not eat.
How many people did you tell him were coming? What was the final count you gave him?
200.
I'm not asking you, sweetie.
200.
Okay. When and how did you give him that final count?
The day before.
Okay. And according to you, that happened or that didn't happen?
That never happened, miss.
Then can you explain? It's not miss,
Sorry.
it's judge.
Judge.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Why are quinceañera parties so much more fun than regular birthday parties?
Mexicans know how to party. They love cerveza, they love piñatas, and they dress really well.
Okay, well, that's a good theory. What do you think?
I think just because a lot of families gather together and just have, it's a
Yeah, but a lot of families gather together, and it's not crazy fun. Why is it crazy fun? Anybody else? And why is it crazy fun with quinceañera parties?
People get really drunk and
Oh, there you go, an honest woman going inside the courtroom.
First of all, you hand me a layout that you drew for her that would indicate that there's 203 people. That's problem number one for you.
Okay.
Problem number two for you is you've told me that in red is all of your handwriting and that this takes place well before the party.
Yes.
And in your handwriting, you've crossed out 160 and you've put 200.
Yes.
And yet you look me in the eye and testify, raise your hand to God and testify that you didn't know there were going to be 200.
Okay, I knew there was going to be 200 people as long as she confirmed with me that there was going to be 200 people so that I would have the food to supply for the 200 people.
But if you changed it on the contract, how am I supposed to believe you that there was something more she needed to do?
What else does she need to do? Send you smoke signals, tattoo it on you? You changed the contract.
I understand.
So if you change the contract, how much am I supposed to believe you that you just still didn't get the final word, didn't get the math to
No,
when?
I knew that, but there also came in concern that she needed to verify with me. It was a verified because she did not want to pay for the 200 people. So I was trying to be a nice guy. She did not want to pay for the 200 people.
What did the nice guy do? You showed up with food for how many?
For 145 people.
145. The woman had 160 on the contract to begin with before you amended it to 200. So why wouldn't you at least show up with food for 160?
Yeah, I did. I stopped serving.
You did?
I stopped serving at a certain point. I stopped serving because I noticed that there was no more food. There was not going to be food for the line that was coming, and there was still 5 more tables that needed to be served.
So what'd you do?
I had to stop serving. I had
What'd
to
you
stop
say?
serving. I had to stop serving. I told my team we're gonna stop serving. I had to go reconcile myself. I said, listen, I have to go and try to figure out where I'm gonna get the more food. I have food that I already had prepped ahead of time, so that just in case something happened or emergency happened, we were going to go out and get the food. But by this time, it was already 9:45, 10 o'clock, and I was saying, I'm like, by the time we get the food and we go over to this, there was gonna be too much.
What kind of caterer are you?
Oh my
Honest to God, what kind of caterer are you?
Okay.
You have food just in case this happens, only you can't access it because it's too late. That's not food just in case this happens. Food just in case this happens is in the kitchen.
Okay.
Where did you have that food?
I had it in my kitchen where we cook at in our.
Why would you not have it? What the hell good is it going to do you in that kitchen somewhere else where you can't access?
Because originally I was going by for what she originally spoke about. She spoke to me that she was going for 160
people. The 200 that you
people.
amended on the contract?
No, for 160 people. She said, listen,
you know what?
I don't want
Honest to God, if I was starving, I wouldn't hire you.
Okay.
Seriously, this is horrible.
Okay.
It's funny. People are like, it's not that funny. Mercifully, you had a good time and you understand that this is not what it's about. But this is a humiliation.
Okay.
To throw a party that you work on and you dream about, all your life, and then next thing you know, your friends can't even eat and they got to go to KFC. Oh my God. How do you put a figure on this? How do you put a figure on ruining a party? Because it's really, I deal in real damages in court. I have to assess some kind of ballpark figure on this that is appropriate, that doesn't pretend he didn't feed anybody at your party, but takes into account the humiliation. And frankly, do not say a word.
Okay.
The arrogance of rewriting the contract, amending it, writing 200, and then saying, oh, no, she didn't get back to me. She didn't get back to me 42 times, and no, I came with 145 food for 100. I got to take all that into consideration. What went from that side to that side? 2,778? Is that the amount that went over to that side from that? I'm ordering you to return $1,778 to the plaintiff. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Well, here he is. The caterer is out here on the losing end of this case, not looking very good during that testimony. Why is that all right?
No, it's fine. I try to do my best on my services, and I try to go with the lady. She did not want to pay for the 200 people. She only wanted to pay for 120 people, and that's where I was going by. I was going by that I was doing my part and trying to help her out and not paying $3,900 for the people that she was not sure that she was going to have.
Stopping serving food to the guests. Was that a good idea?
No, that was not a good idea, and I take that into my consideration. It was my fault, and maybe I should have not done that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do provide my services, and I do try to give everything that I can give to the customers. With the bar, I did not charge her for the bar, I did not charge her for the soda, and I didn't charge her for the liquor. At the end of the day, she ended up paying only for the food.
All right, right that way. All right, so. All right, so step on in here. Boy, you look very serious, even though you just did win the judgment here in court. What's going through your mind now?
Actually, I'm satisfied, and I
Yeah.
am very, very pleased that we settled this. It was very stressful, the whole entire planning of my daughter's Sweet 16, and then to come to find out that I had to be stressed after this. So I'm just glad that
Come on, you know how to make a good time out of a party, no matter what the circumstances, don't you?
We made the best of it.
Over to Harvey.
Well, there you go. The bottom line here is that the defendant's the one who wrote 200 in the contract. He can't go back to the original 160. He screwed up. He has to pay.